Hey there, amazing fans! Before we dive into today's drama, don't forget to subscribe, smash that like button, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support means the world to us. Now, welcome to another relaxing moment with Suga Stories. Grab a seat, sit back, relax, and let's journey into the story together. The sky above Ogunda burned red. Not with fire, but with the haunting glow of the blood moon that rose like a silent omen over the land. It bled through the clouds, casting a rust-colored shadow over the forest canopies and rippling streams. Even the animals had gone quiet. Not a bird sang. Not a cricket chirped. Only the distant thrum of tribal drums echoed faintly, slow, deliberate, like a heartbeat fading. Nkem sat cross-legged in her father's hut, grinding a mixture of crushed hibiscus and bitter cola into a clay bowl. Her fingers moved methodically, but her heart was restless. The blood moon always unsettled her, as it did everyone in the village. But tonight, it felt different, heavier, like a stone pressing against her chest. Her father, Ikenna, the village's most revered herbalist, had gone out that morning to gather herbs near the border of the Etu clan. He was late. Too late. The fire flickered in the center of the hut, casting shadows across the carved walls. A low whisper of wind passed through the open flap, and with it came the faint smell of blood. Nkem froze. Then the scream came. A high-pitched guttural wail from the village square. She bolted upright, the clay bowl spilling its contents. She burst through the door and sprinted toward the sound. In the center of the square, villagers had gathered in a tight circle. Some wailed. Others stood in stunned silence. In the middle, wrapped in blood-stained palm leaves, was the body of her father. Nkem's legs gave way. She collapsed to her knees, crawling forward. No. No, 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 she whispered, tears spilling down her cheeks. That's not him. It can't be. She tore at the palm fronds, revealing his face, still, cold, his chest pierced by a deep spear wound. His herb satchel was missing. His hands were bloodied but clenched, as if he'd fought to the last breath. Her mother shrieked, falling beside her. Elder Medu stepped forward, his voice grave. He was found near the border. Witnesses saw Oba, the Etu warrior chief, retreating into the woods. The prophecy has come to pass. Betrayal under the blood moon. The villagers murmured in fear. Nkem stood, fists clenched. Her voice rang clear. Oba did this? He murdered my father. Medu's eyes narrowed. The blood moon reveals what is hidden. Peace was hanging by a thread. And now, the Etu have made their move. Then we fight back, a young warrior cried. But Medu raised his hand. No. There may be another way. A peace offering. Oba has demanded a bride from our village. In return, he will spare Ogunda. The murmurs turned to shouts. A bride? To the murderer. Medu's voice hardened. He has named her. Nkem. The world tilted. Nkem felt her breath catch. Her knees trembled. Me, she whispered. Her mother clutched her arm. No. She just lost her father. You can't. The elders have agreed. To save the village, Nkem must go. Nkem stepped back. You want me to marry the man who killed my father? Medu looked at her with cold eyes. Your father agreed to this before his death. He knew it was the only way. Her heart shattered again. She wanted to scream, to curse them all. But instead she looked at her father's body. She knelt beside him, pressing her forehead to his chest. Then I'll go, she whispered. But not for peace. For the truth. She rose slowly, tears gone. Her face was stone. I will marry him. But I will not be his wife. I will be his undoing. The wedding was set for the next sunrise. No drums. No dances. Just silence and a deep sense of dread. Nkem stood by the river's edge, wrapped in mourning white. Her mother braided her hair slowly, hands trembling. You don't have to do this, her mother whispered, voice barely audible over the trickling water. I do. They've already given me away, Nkem replied flatly. Her mother wiped away a tear. He may have killed your father. Nkem's eyes narrowed, locked on the reflection of the blood moon in the river. Then I will make him pay. As dawn broke, Nkem was led through the village by 2 guards. Her feet were bare, her wrists adorned with medicinal herbs, part of a traditional binding rite, ironic now that the man she was marrying may have caused the very death that sent her here. They met at the bridge between Ogunda and the Etu border. Oba stood waiting. Towering, fierce, muscles chiseled like rock, face marked with battle scars. His eyes met hers, not with malice, but with a strange calm. "Nkem of Ogunda," he said in a deep, steady voice. "Do you come willingly?" She looked at him long and hard. "Willingly, no. But I come." He nodded. "Then let it be done." The priest spoke the vows. No one clapped. No one smiled. When it was over, Nkem turned to the village that raised her, tears brimming in her eyes. "Goodbye, Mama," she whispered. Her mother, held back by warriors, reached toward her but couldn't touch. And with that, Nkem crossed the bridge with Oba into enemy land. Etu was not as Nkem had imagined. She expected sharp spears, suspicious stares, and walls built from bones. Instead, she found a village of color, laughter, and order. Children chased each other through the palm groves. Women sang as they pounded yam. There were warriors, yes, but their weapons were sheathed. Peace here was not a concept, it was a practice. Still, Nkem trusted none of it. She kept her head low as they passed through the village square, Oba walking beside her like a looming shadow. He said nothing. Neither did she. His home was a wide compound made of red clay and woven palm, adorned with hand-carved masks and feathers. Inside, a young boy around 10 years old peered out. "That's Tay," Oba said curtly. "My brother." Tay blinked at her, eyes wide. Then he smiled, softly, hesitantly. Nkem gave him a curt nod. Inside the hut, a small mat was rolled out in the corner. Oba pointed to it. "You can sleep there." She looked around. "You expect me to live here like a guest?" Oba sighed. "You're not a prisoner." "No, just a bride delivered under a threat of war." He didn't respond. Days passed. Nkem observed everything. The guards who stood at Oba's door at night. The elders who came to speak with him in hushed tones. The way Oba trained each morning, powerful but precise. A man used to discipline. But something else gnawed at her. Oba didn't behave like a murderer. One evening, while gathering herbs near the edge of the village, she heard footsteps behind her. "You shouldn't be out alone," said a voice. She turned sharply. Tay stood there, hands behind his back. "But, you think your brother will kill me in the woods too?" Tay flinched. "He didn't kill your father." Nkem blinked. "What did you say?" Tay stepped closer. "He didn't. He found him dying. Tried to help, but the wound was too deep. Then the others came, and he ran." "Why would he run?" "Because he knew your people would blame him. They always do." Nkem's heart thudded in her chest. "How do you know this?" "Because I was with him. I saw it." She stared at the boy. Was he lying? Why would he? "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you need to know. And because I think you're not like the others." That night, Nkem lay awake. Her mind churned with questions. What if Oba didn't kill her father? Then who did? The next morning, she waited until Oba left for the training grounds. Then she slipped into his private study, a narrow room filled with scrolls, blades, and maps. She searched quickly, scanning drawers and shelves. Nothing stood out, until she found a parchment hidden beneath a basket. It was a message, hastily written. "The elder has betrayed us all. The price of peace will be blood." No name. No signature. But the script was familiar. Her father's. Her breath caught. The elder? Could it be Medu? Suddenly, footsteps. Oba stood at the door. "What are you doing?" Nkem swallowed hard. "Looking for the truth." He stared at her. "Then stop hiding. Ask me." She held up the parchment. "Did you know my father?" Oba stepped inside. "He came to me weeks before his death. Asked for peace. Said he feared what Medu was planning." "Why didn't you say anything?" "Because your people would never believe it. Just like they never believed we wanted peace." Nkem's legs felt weak. She sat on the floor, staring at the parchment. "So who killed him?" Oba looked away. "I don't know. but I will help you find out. Oba's compound was colder than Nkem expected, not in temperature, but in spirit. The A2 warriors bowed as she passed, their eyes unreadable. The air was thick with unspoken tension, a veil stretched across every doorway and gaze. 3 days had passed since the wedding. Nkem had barely spoken to Oba. He had granted her her own chambers, a modest clay-walled room furnished with a straw mat, carved stool, and an oil lamp. But comfort didn't soften her hatred. Each morning, she wandered the compound pretending to acquaint herself with her new surroundings, but really she searched for any sign, any clue to Oba's guilt. One afternoon, while the sun cast golden spears through the thatched roofing, she slipped past the guards toward Oba's private hut. It was forbidden. But she had learned that curiosity, when cloaked in purpose, went unnoticed. The door creaked open. The room smelled of sandalwood and iron. Weapons lined the wall, spears, blades, shields engraved with the A2 insignia. But something on the far side caught her eye, a carved chest, bound in leather and sealed with a brass latch. She approached, heart hammering. The latch was loose. Inside lay scrolls, old and yellowed, some with faded ink. Letters. Dozens of them. She pulled one out and scanned the lines. Her father's handwriting. Her breath caught. She read faster. Letter after letter. Exchanges between Ikena and Oba. Discussions of healing herbs. Trade routes. Peace negotiations. And then, if they find out, they will never forgive us. But we must try. The blood moon is our only window. Another. I trust you, Oba. As a brother. We will meet at the border before the rise of the moon. The letters blurred through her tears. Her father hadn't been tricked. He had trusted Oba. They had planned something, together. She heard footsteps. Nkem froze. The door opened. Oba stood there, arms crossed. You weren't supposed to see that. Nkem turned slowly, fists clenched. You lied to me. You lied to everyone. What were you and my father planning? Oba entered the room calmly. We were planning to end the war. Her lips trembled. You expect me to believe that? He came to me in secret. He saw what the elders refused to see, that this cycle of vengeance would destroy both our people. He believed peace was possible. Then why is he dead? Oba's jaw tensed. Because someone else found out. Who? I don't know. But the message we left was intercepted. He died trying to protect the truth. Nkem's mind reeled. Could it be true? Her father, not betrayed, but martyred? Her marriage, not punishment, but protection? She staggered back. Why didn't you tell me? Would you have believed me? She shook her head. No. Oba stepped closer. But now you see. There is more at stake than your pain. She looked at the letters in her hand. Proof. But still, no answers. Just deeper questions. I need to know everything, she whispered. Oba nodded. Then follow me. He led her through a secret tunnel beneath the compound, down into a cavern lit by glowing stones. At the end, a shrine. On the altar, more scrolls, maps, plans. This is what we built together. A way forward. Without blood. Nkem touched the maps. Border alliances. Hidden passages. Symbols of the moon. I want to believe you, she said. Then stay. Learn. Decide for yourself. She turned to him, for the first time not with hate, but with uncertainty. Oba bowed. Whatever you choose, I will not stop you. As she stood in the glow of the cavern, clutching her father's letters, Nkem felt her resolve waver. The truth had not set her free. It had chained her to a choice. And the blood moon still loomed overhead. The sun hung low over the Eta village, its golden rays casting long shadows across the dusty paths. The blood moon had waned, but its echoes lingered in Nkem's heart. She stood by the training grounds, her eyes following Oba as he sparred with his warriors. Each strike of his spear, each fluid motion, radiated strength, but she saw more now. She saw pain. Since discovering her father's letter and the truth it held, Nkem had found herself caught in a tempest of emotion. Hatred still pulsed through her veins, but so did confusion, and an unsettling curiosity about the man she had vowed to destroy. Oba noticed her watching. He paused, wiped sweat from his brow, and walked toward her. "You've been avoiding me," he said, tone gentle. "I've been thinking," she replied, arms crossed. "About?" Nkem hesitated. "Why you haven't defended yourself? Why you let everyone believe you killed my father?" Oba's jaw tightened. "Because in war, the truth is drowned by necessity. Your people needed a villain. And he looked away, I needed to protect someone." "Who?" she asked, voice sharp. But he only shook his head. "Not yet." That night, the village celebrated the new alliance with a feast. Tension hung in the air like smoke. Nkem sat beside Oba, picking at her food. Across the table, Tay watched her carefully. When the music began, Tay leaned closer. "He's not who you think," he whispered. "I know," she murmured. "You should also know someone's trying to silence you." Her eyes snapped to his. "What do you mean?" He slipped a small pouch into her hand under the table. "This was found in your room. Poison." Nkem's blood ran cold. She clutched the pouch tightly and excused herself, slipping out into the dark. As she rounded the corner toward her hut, a shadow moved. A blade flashed. She ducked, rolled, and kicked out with instinct honed in her father's teachings. The attacker stumbled. Oba appeared from nowhere, tackling the figure and slamming them to the ground. It was one of the A2 warriors, someone trusted. "You!" Oba snarled. The man spat blood. "She's a spy. She'll destroy us." Oba looked at Nkem. "Are you?" She met his gaze without flinching. "No. But I was ready to." The man was dragged away. Silence returned. Oba sat beside her outside her hut. "You should leave. This village isn't safe for you anymore." Nkem shook her head. "I faced worse. I'm not leaving. Not until I know everything." They sat in silence for a moment. "You never answered my question," she said. "Who were you protecting?" Oba's voice was a whisper. "Your father. He saved my sister's life years ago. I owed him a debt. I didn't kill him, I tried to save him. But I was too late." Nkem's heart twisted. "Why didn't you say something before?" "Because your village wouldn't believe me. And because I didn't want to see hate in your eyes." Tears brimmed in hers. She turned away. "I don't know what to believe anymore." He touched her arm lightly. "Then believe your heart." For the first time since crossing the bridge, she didn't pull away. That night, as stars bloomed across the sky, Nkem lay awake, her mind a storm. The lines between enemy and ally were blurring. Oba, once her target for vengeance, had become her shield. She could no longer deny the growing warmth in her chest when he spoke, or the way his gaze lingered like a question unanswered. But danger still lurked. Someone wanted her gone. The truth was only half revealed. And the prophecy of betrayal under the blood moon still held weight. The next morning, she rose with renewed resolve. She would uncover the full truth. She would unmask the traitor still lurking. And if her heart chose to align with Oba's, then so be it. For now, love and war had collided. But the battle was far from over. The crimson moon rose once again, casting its eerie glow over the twin villages of Ogunda and A2. The prophecy that had haunted Nkem since the night of her father's death now loomed closer to fulfillment. But this time, she wasn't the same girl who wept at the altar. She was a warrior in her own right. Tay's warnings echoed in her mind. There was more treachery in Ogunda than she dared admit. And the only person who had truly stood by her was Oba. Despite their shared past and blood-stained history, they had grown together. Now it was time to confront the storm. The night air was thick with tension. Nkem stood beside Oba and Tay, eyes fixed on the torchlit path to the Ogunda council hut. The elders had summoned her under the guise of reconciliation, but Tay had intercepted a message, one meant for the real traitor. "It's a trap," Tay whispered, clutching a short blade beneath his robe. Oba nodded. "We go together. No more secrets. No more fear." As they entered the council chamber, Elder Dogo rose slowly from his seat, robes trailing like creeping vines. His expression was serene, but Nkem saw the flicker in his eyes, the calculation. "Daughter of Amadi," he said smoothly, "you return to your roots under a blood moon once again. How fitting. She stepped forward, chin high. I came to bury the lies. And the liar. The other elders shifted in their seats. Dogo chuckled softly. So the witch child fancies herself a hunter now? Nkem reached into her satchel and pulled out the final piece of her father's journal, the missing page hidden deep inside a hollowed herb jar Oba had salvaged. She read aloud, "If I fall, it will be by the hand of someone I once trusted. The war is not with Atu. It is within Ogunda. Elder Dogo seeks to marry the blood moon to his thirst for power." Guess. Then silence. Dogo's smile vanished. "Lies," he bellowed. "This is heresy." Oba stepped forward. "My men found poison in Nkem's quarters, planted by one of your spies. One of your loyal dogs confessed." Dogo turned on him. "You would trust an enemy over your own people?" "I trust truth over tradition," Nkem shot back. Dogo's face twisted. "Then you choose death." He flung his cloak aside, revealing a blade. With a roar, he lunged. Everything erupted. Oba intercepted Dogo's strike, steel crashing against steel. Tay grabbed one of the guards, wrestling him to the ground. Nkem ran to the center of the chamber, pulling villagers behind her, shielding the innocent. The fire pits blazed brighter as chaos unfurled. Oba fought Dogo with unmatched fury, his blade dancing with righteous rage. But Dogo was no ordinary elder. His movements were fast, desperate, deadly. A swing. A slash. Oba cried out. Blood bloomed across his side. "No!" Nkem screamed, rushing to his side. Dogo raised his blade for the final blow, but Tay launched his knife. It struck Dogo's arm, causing him to stagger. Nkem seized the moment. Her father's ceremonial dagger flashed in her hand. She drove it into Dogo's chest. He gasped. A look of disbelief froze on his face. And then he fell. Silence returned. Oba groaned, clutching his side. "You stabbed him?" "With my father's blade," she whispered, tears falling freely. The days that followed were a blur of mourning, rebuilding, and reckoning. Elder Dogo's betrayal sent shockwaves through Ogunda. The surviving council named Tay as the new intermediary between the villages. He accepted with grace, though grief clouded his eyes. Oba recovered slowly but surely. Nkem stayed by his side. On the final night of the blood moon cycle, she stood at the edge of the village, staring at the stars. Oba joined her, bandaged but strong. "You saved us all." She shook her head. "We saved each other." He took her hand. "You still hate me?" "No," she whispered. "But I'm still afraid." "Of what?" "Of what comes next. Of how to live without rage. Without revenge." He kissed her forehead gently. "Then let's learn together." They stood in silence, two hearts forged in the fire of betrayal, now finding rhythm in peace. She didn't return to her old village. Instead, she built a sanctuary halfway between Ogunda and Atu. A place of healing, of truth, of legacy. Nkem was no longer the girl meant to marry a monster. She had loved a man. She had faced the true monster. And she had chosen not vengeance, but peace. Thus the blood moon prophecy ended not with destruction, but with sacrifice, truth, and a love strong enough to withstand war. And so, under the stars, the girl with fire in her veins and wisdom in her soul wrote a new prophecy of her own. Let truth be louder than tradition. Let peace be braver than pride. Let legacy rise where vengeance dies.